Hey Hofstra fans, welcome inside the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. I'm Tom Brady, now joined by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride men's lacrosse team, Seth Tierney. Coach, thanks so much for the time.
Tom, thanks for having me.
Now Coach, you had two games this past week. We'll start it out on Tuesday. A 10-9 3-overtime loss to Fairfield. What do you remember about that game looking back now?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I remember the end, and I remember us having opportunities to win the game, and that's really all we can do right now. And I said it a couple of times earlier in our interviews, we need to play with our game jerseys on. We're just a young team. Even our older guys are inexperienced, and for them to have an overtime game or a triple overtime game, we needed to have one. And I certainly wish we would have won. You know, you could look at it both ways. We're one goal away from being 3-1, and one goal away from being 1-3. So with that, we need to continue to get better. And you know, we did take a step later on in the week, but we learned a lot from that Fairfield game as well.
Now your team went on a 5-goal run. You wound up taking an 8-6 lead in that game before Fairfield wound up scoring 4 out of the last 5. Is that just part of the youth, is not being able to just step on the gas and keep going in that game?
Yeah, I mean, and part of it is throwing it neutral. You go up 8-6, and it was at the end of the third quarter, and we needed to have the ball, and we didn't. And there was a turnover. It goes 8-7 right before the fourth quarter starts, and then they have the momentum in the break before the fourth quarter, and then it becomes not to lose instead of win, and that was the mentality of it. And then obviously we learned a little bit something from it because we had some adversity over the weekend and held on.
It seemed at times it looked like a little bit of a goaltending duel. Andrew Gavazin made 17 saves. Charlie Cipriano made 16, including 3 in the overtime periods against your team. Was that a little bit fun to watch?
I mean, it wasn't fun for me, but it was. Charlie Cipriano's one heck of a goalie. He's a Long Island guy. We recruited him as well, and he's had a great career up at Fairfield, and they now have gone on 3 overtime a winning streak. I think they're 4-0, so great for them. Andrew played very well that game. We had good looks. Steve Serling wanted to win it for our team as a captain and a 6-year guy. Ian Bradish had a great look at the doorstep. They had a couple of looks, but they had a play at the end, and we had a little bit of a mishap defensively, and they took advantage of it. So we had to learn from it, turn that negative into a positive, and move forward.
Now Soroketti and Bradish had 3 points each. Soroketti with the hat trick, Bradish 1 goal, 2 assists, and you got 2 goals each from Lance Yapor and Torrin Barn. Were you pleased with the offensive output?
Yeah, better. Better. But we still have a long way to go. I mean, we know that we might not be 15 goal scorers per game this year. It's just not going to happen. We need to play a smarter brand of lacrosse. And then when you throw in a lot of youth and inexperience, that becomes a taller task than easier said than done. But we're getting there. We're taking steps. There's going to be 2 steps forward. There's going to be a 1 step back. We're raising a team right now. Like you're raising a family, you're raising a team, and they're an exciting bunch to coach. I love them, and we're going to take another step this week. We have a full week to prepare for a very, very good Notre Dame team coming in.
After a tough loss like that, how did you get your team back and ready to go up to Harvard and face a tough Harvard team?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a tall task. I mean, maybe even taller than a lot of people think. Certainly after getting our win against them last year by 5 or 6 goals, Jake Hart having a big hit in that game, and knowing that the revenge factor was on their side, it was at their place. A tough place to play. Again, young and inexperienced on the road. And they fought. We came out for the first time. We came out and scored the first goal and stopped them on their first possession. There's a sign that we hadn't seen yet. And I thought it could have been worse. I thought we could have went up 4-0 or 5-1 or 5, somewhere around there. And but it wasn't meant to be. And then they got it to a 1-goal game at halftime, and I believe they even tied it up. And then we had a great play later on by a freshman who came down and stuck the game winner with 6 or 7 minutes to go in the game. And then we were able to have some game management towards the end.
So you wound up getting the 7-6 victory at Harvard. You mentioned the freshman Ryan Riley with the long pole getting the huge game-winning goal for you. Also had 2 ground balls, a caused turnover. What did you see from him in that game?
Yeah, Ryan Riley's growing up in front of us right now, and as a freshman, that's a tough position to become older quicker. So he's done a great job with that, and we look for his better days are still ahead of him. Cole Kester made a couple of great plays for us as well. And again, Begley with 2 goals, Ryan Riley with 1. I think Yapor had 1, and I want to say DiGiovanni had 1. So you get 5 out of your 7 goals with freshmen and sophomores, and a lot of freshmen and sophomores on the defensive end. We got a ways to go.
Now a 7-6 game. Even though you didn't quite dominate at the face-off X, how did you feel that the possessions went in that game? And is this the type of game that you're kind of expecting to play?
I mean, listen, we're not looking to stall the ball. We're not. We want to have great possessions. We know that the better shots will come later in the possession. So we're trying to, encourage our guys to have the ball a little bit and wait for the best look and not the first look. John did a better job at the X. I think we missed a couple of ground balls for him that could have maybe swayed the stats a little bit. But again, I thought that, at spurts, he looks really good, and at spurts, they got him a little bit. So we're looking to get better. Zach Paul is there. He's working hard, and we know what's coming in. Later on in the season, everybody's got good goalies. Everybody's got good face-off guys. That's just part of it being playing at Division I level.
Now, for Steve Sterling, who's held up the score sheet again in this game, is that going to be a key for your team to get him going, or is it just nice to know that when he does get going, that's just going to be another guy who can put the ball in the back of the net for you?
Well, after winning, it's certainly nice to see. But Steve played a terrific game. It was a little bit of the old Steve Sterling this weekend. He played with a lot of emotion. He got a lot of great looks at the goal, and it's not dropping for him. It's going to drop. Steve is just, he works too hard for it not to drop. And Steve Sterling's our guy. It's going to drop for him sooner than later, and we need for Ian to he had 1-1. We need more from him. Sorchetti, we need to get more shots from him. Begley came around a little bit. We need more from Denably and Varn, and we got to just keep moving and getting some of those younger guys or second midfield guys to get involved as well.
And you kind of foreshadowed it, a big matchup this weekend, a home game against Notre Dame at Stewart Stadium, one of the big teams that we talked about in the first show of being added to your schedule this season. Team 2-1 on the season, two one-goal games against CAA opponents, a 4-3 loss against Penn State, a 6-5 win over Drexel. What do you see from that team on film?
Yeah, they're a very, very well coached team. Their defense is very good. They do great. They have great support. In the goal, Joey Kemp does a great job. And offensively, they follow the plan. So we have our hands full, but we're growing, and playing in Stewart Stadium is a plus for us. Having a full week of practice with a young team is a plus for us. So we're looking forward to it.
Now, does that, you think, give your team confidence, seeing that other CAA teams, and obviously we talk about how evenly the CAA always seems to be matched, can keep up with this Notre Dame team?
Yes and no. You don't want to compare scores, but we're looking forward to playing.
Now, as far as face-offs go, Notre Dame, that one of their weak points, only about 44% at the X. How much of a key are you looking to the X as in that game?
Yeah, well, they just got their face-off guy back. He was out for a little while, so I think that you'll see that stat go up, and he did a good job, versus Drexel, and we'll be getting that film shortly and taking a look at it. But it's going to play a huge role for John to be able to get over the top of the ball and get it out to our wings or push it forward. And we're going to have to play the percentages when we have it. The best defense is certainly having the ball on offense.
And Coach, finally, I'll ask you, any keys to getting a victory against Notre Dame at home this Saturday?
It's more about Hofstra than it is about Notre Dame, and that's weird when you say a university like Notre Dame. But right now, it's where we're at. We can't stop growing to put in a special magical game plan versus Notre Dame. I'm sure there's one out there, and if we studied the film hard enough, we could come up with one for a victory. But I think that we would postpone us getting better, and I don't want to do that with with some of the CAA games out on the horizon. We need to get better as a Hofstra team. So with that being said, we're going to have a little bit of a hybrid. We're going to have a good game plan, but it's certainly taking another step for Hofstra lacrosse is the main component here.
All right, Seth Tierney, head coach of the Hofstra men's lacrosse team. Good luck this weekend. Thanks for joining us inside the W. Mason Coach Report here on GoHofstra.com.